I'm Kara, and welcome to Soul Inspiring Business. I believe that all of us possess unique gifts and talents that allow us to serve the world and our own growth in the highest possible way. Our lives are an expression of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. And here, we will explore businesses, thought leaders, and topics designed to inspire, helping propel your own growth so you can live your best and most purposeful life. Welcome to Soul Inspiring Business. Welcome back to the Soul Inspiring Business podcast. I'm your host, Kara, and today I'm actually recording an episode about marketing and social media and how do you show up online for your business. Now, this actually came about because I was talking to a friend, also business owner, and I said, what kind of topic do you think would be interesting to hear? And this is what she wanted to know about. So I thought, you know what? I'll record a show on that. I am not a social media manager, but I have been, I have an understanding of marketing, and I've worked with many social media managers over the last several years. And so I thought I would just share some of my thoughts on how you can show up online in your business and how to use it as a lead generation and source of business from my point of view. So, and I think also part of that is when I think of, social media and marketing and creating what I often call magnetic marketing. So not so much as, oh, let me sell to you, but let me bring you into my world, right? I think that's what social media has the ability to create, is really connection. And I'll share with you even, I know back in 2019, right before COVID, I think that's when I started my Instagram account, actually. I had one picture on Instagram. I was really intimidated by Instagram itself. And I had one photo on Instagram. And it wasn't even from me. It was actually my husband posted a photo and it tagged me. So, and then once COVID hit, I remember making a conscious decision that I was going to go all in on marketing, and I was going to hire somebody to help me build my social media presence. And now, 8,000 plus followers, and really just, it's been fun to document the journey along the way. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'll give you my thoughts on some of the most common questions that I hear when it comes to social media marketing and how to show up online. And of course, if you've got any questions or there's any particular topic that you'd like to know more about, please DM me. I do check them personally, and I'd love to hear it and love to create a show for you too. So I think one of the first things that when you are looking at growing online and growing a social media presence, it's really looking at what are the goals? What are the goals for the business? And again, social media is meant to be about connection. It's meant to be in relationship. So there are ways to build that are, there are certainly lots of different ways to market your business. But I think that really what social media allows us to do is to get a peek behind the curtain, to be able to see what's going on in someone's world, to understand more. It's to really build brand recognition and create a sense of when people think of you, when people think of your business, what do they think of, right? And that's really what you're creating when you create this online presence for yourself. Now, there's, and the more out there, especially YouTube. I mean, this isn't really necessarily about YouTube, but I think YouTube is actually going to be an even bigger platform because of the SEO that goes with Google and YouTube. And as AI, ChatGPT becomes more and more of a search engine for people, I think that particular platform will become even more important as a place to have your name out there as a business owner. But I think especially for anybody in a service-oriented business, such as real estate or financial advisory or whatever it is, I think that most people, when they're looking at hiring somebody, will start with a simple Google search or go on Instagram, and they're going to look you up and they're going to find out a little bit more about you. So I think first of all, it starts in, what are your goals for the business? Is it lead generation? Or is it brand recognition? I kind of look at it as, I do a lot of business through relationships, through what we would call our sphere of influence, right? All of the people that I know and that are currently in my world. And so it's a way of staying top of mind. So instead of going out and, delivering flyers to a whole community, right, of print marketing that somebody may or may not resonate with, it's a way of staying consistently top of mind with people that already know you. And so that when they think of real estate, when they think of a financial advisor, when they think of an attorney, they think of you, right? So that's kind of one of the goals and the ways that I've seen it and grown it. And I think that one of the biggest things when you're putting together your social media presence and really thinking about what you want to share, I do think there is something to be said for oversharing. I don't think that it's wise in our very, I'd say, politically divided country to post a lot about things that are divisive topics if you're a business owner. Of course, there could be some people that say, well, then I'm going to attract that particular person. But the challenge with it, I think, is that sometimes if we create politically divisive content, or we're trying to be divisive in our content, we just will potentially off-put somebody that actually could have been somebody that you might have resonated with had you met and talked to them and had a relationship in person. So I'm not one for going down that path personally. But I also think that it's important that you define what are the content pillars. What are you about? Number one, what's the business? So what are you going to share about that to other people? But then what are the other things that make up you as a whole person? Because I think that as we become more dependent on AI and AI grows, and gosh, I was just at a conference where I was seeing all the incredible things that are going to come with AI. And I think there are really a lot of incredible things. I think there are also some dangers that we should be aware of as well. But I think that the efficiency side is certainly something that we can welcome. But that being said, I think that because there is this push towards AI, I think that there's also the paradigm has shifted to where a lot of people are using that for content creation. And so it's very obvious to see, and maybe it will become more sophisticated, but I think that a lot of people will look at, an AI generated post and say, well, that's not real, or that doesn't feel. And so I think that it actually creates an opportunity for those of us that can show up more authentically to show that, because I think people are craving in many ways due to connection, due to the ways of the world, due to AI. I actually think there's a craving and a yearning for more connection, for the humanness, the parts of us that, that are unique to us. And I think people want to see that. They want to see that you're not a robot, that you actually have, you're a real person, and that you're not necessarily all about business all the time. Of course, I talk about real estate a lot. I live and breathe it for my clients, but that's not the whole person that I am. I'm also a wife. I'm also a mom. I also love to go on incredible retreats and love visiting the beach and love going to the mountains and going on hikes. And, so we're these multifaceted individuals. And so I think it's important to kind of hone in on and of course, I share a lot about the podcast on social media as well, because it's a big part of what I'm creating in wanting to show up and make a difference in the world. So with that being said, it's how do we, what are the content pillars that we're creating? What are the, 3 to 4 things that are unique to you that you can show up on and alternate between those. Because if you only talk business all the time, I think that then there may not be as much of a connection point there for someone. And so I think it's important that we kind of look at, okay, what are the 3 to 4 things that I'm going to share, and how do I alternate between these types of content, right? So define the goals. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? Because if you're set up for lead generation, then there's a whole different path that you might look at creating, in your bio, a link to forms. You might look at some lead magnets and how are you going to utilize those? The easiest place to start is just top of mind awareness. And then I would say you can go towards lead generation. But those are, I think, important things to define. And then looking at your content pillars, as we just talked about. A lot of times, too, people will ask me, well, do I need a separate page for my business in addition to my personal page? And the way I just heard that question actually asked. And the way I look at it is that I think it does make sense for the business to have a certain identity, for the business to have its own page that's devoted to just the ways that you show up for the business. So, for example, we have a KCD real estate, page where it's at KCD team, the KCD team. And that's where we host all of our properties. We'll post things about educational things, about real estate. And so it's really meant to be more business centric. But I believe that, as a business owner, you're also building the business, but you're building your personal brand and awareness. And so, again, that comes back to the fact that some people might follow at the KCD team, and they do, so that they know what kind of properties and things they have coming on. But the following on my personal page is much more prevalent because it shares the whole person. They know more of what I'm about, what I stand for, my values, so that, and that leads into the business and leads again to that top of mind awareness. So I actually think that it's important to have both. Obviously, the personal page, you'll share more things about you personally, things that you enjoy doing. And another big shift that's happening in content creation right now is this shift from the talking head videos about, well, how to market a home, or what are the 3 things that you need to know about buying a home in today's market, right? Those kinds of videos, those how-to videos, have kind of gone away. Now people want to be brought into your world. So it's a simple shift, but it is now, instead of how-to, it's how I market and prep a home to sell in 7 days or less, right? So there's this shift from how-to to how I. So again, this idea of you're bringing people into your world so that they want to be a part of it. And I think that that's something that we're seeing. There's also something about specificity. So people don't want to just know about the pumpkin patch down the street, but it's something about, when I'm craving a pumpkin spice latte for blah, 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 this is the spot that I go. There's more specificity. There's more feeling and emotion that people want to be rooted in versus a simple kind of statement. So what you're trying to do is evoke feeling, evoke connection. And again, it really is about bringing the people into your world. That's kind of, I think, the real focus about social media is in connection. And, again, you've got the ability to just connect with that many more people on social media versus traditional marketing, because I'd have to call, a lot of people to be able to get the amount of views you can get on, a 1,000 views on a reel, for example. I mean, I'm never going to be able to call necessarily 1,000 people in one day, right? Or it's going to take a lot longer to create. So you just kind of have to shift the perception of how you're thinking of it in terms of, brand awareness and how do I create connection with people. And for some people, I've also gotten the question, well, I'm just not good on video. I'm not going to be on video. And what I would say is, that is a way for people to show up and know who you are. So I would encourage you, if you're a little bit afraid, to just start, right? To just start, because that's a way, again, to create connection with people. And the way you look on camera is, by the way, probably the way you look in person. So uh, don't be afraid of just showing up and being yourself, because people want to connect with you. And the more that you can share, and by the way, I do think there's something to be said for oversharing. So, just think about the things that are important to you for people to know when they're hiring you or when they're in your world. What are the things that you're about? And focus on sharing those, because people more than ever, I think, want connection. And you have a chance, an opportunity to tell your story in a broader way by using these simple platforms. So, with that, I hope it's helpful. And I look forward to connecting next time. And again, if you've got a question or something that you'd like to know more about, send me a DM and I'll be happy to share what I know about it. All right. Make it a good day, blessed day, I should say. And until next time. Loved being here with you today and would love to connect with you more over on Instagram. My handle is linked to the show notes, or you can just type in @Chaffin Donofrio. And I have something special for you as a free gift, my Dynamic Life Journal. This special book has the power to really help you live a soul-inspired life. Go to freegiftfromkara.com. Easy to remember, freegiftfromkara.com. Until next time, beautiful people, sending all my love.